Oh, good day to you. Hope the day finds you well. So, you want to replace the light bulb in your Westinghouse Roaster? Not a problem. This is a Westinghouse Roaster. This is an RO91. This is probably built in the 50s. The light bulb is right behind here, but it doesn't look real obvious how it comes off. This knob doesn't appear to slide off. That's not a problem. Go ahead and lay the thing on its back, and you don't have to remove that. Yeah, go ahead and remove that tray. One would think just removing this little door would reveal the guts of the thing. Well, unfortunately, that isn't true. There are 4 sheet metal screws on the bottom of the roaster. Make sure this is unplugged, and if it's been on, let it cool down. And go ahead and remove those. Now, inside of here is what's called rock wool or fiberglass insulation, so you may want to don some gloves. Some latex gloves or some rubber wash gloves would be just fine. Me, I'm kind of impervious to most chemicals and abrasives because I've done these things so many times, or I'm just stupid. So you go ahead and remove these screws. I just set them in the tray. Now, this is basically just a big tin lid. You just go ahead and pop that off there. A little bit of the wool might come off inside. No big deal. Okay. Now, under here is where the light bulb lurks. You need to get this knob off. Now, mental note. You need a well-fitting straight-edge screwdriver and you need to be careful. This knob is actually glass. If you rotate this around, you'll find a screw and a little kind of strip of metal under there. See that? And if you carefully remove that screw, I just hang on to it and go ahead and throw it in the tray there. This little metal bracket will pop out, and there it is. And there it is if you focus. There we go. Just set that off to the side. Now, let's zoom back in, take another look at this. Okay. Go ahead and push the knob down and rotate it around about 90 degrees. Then the knob will come out and you'll have to jiggle it a little bit. The reason being, when you get that off, be careful. There's a spring on there and a little paper gasket. Under here is a little molded tip. And basically what happens is that gets locked into place there. And let's see if I can rotate that around so we can see it. Yeah, here we go. This will be a little bit better for you. When you go to take that off, that little tip is under that little steel bracket there. See it there? When you push down and rotate it 90 degrees, it comes up through a slot, and then you just carefully lean it back and set the knob off to the side. Now the light is exposed. This is a number 43 light. And this one's been there a long time. One thing that may happen is if these lights have been in there a long time, the bases get flattened. This is a perfect example. See how this is all smushed looking? That should be kind of round. This is just solder actually, and you may be able to, with a soldering iron or soldering gun, re-tip that. That might be the reason the lamp is not working. The other reason is that the filament actually might be just broke. Like I said, this is a number 43 lamp, and it's a bayonet lamp. Has the 2 little ears, one there and one there. And that is, I think, a 2.5 volt bulb. Old hardware store might have something like that if you cross your fingers. Car parts store maybe. Yeah, somebody that deals with old radios would probably have something like that. So anyway, just snap the new bulb in. And go ahead and line that back up and push it back in. And then if you carefully pull up, you can rotate the control back around and get it lined back up to where that little hole is, where the screw goes. Maybe a little zooming is appropriate here. And what I do is I hold the bracket and the screw, and then I get the screwdriver started, and then just push that back in there real carefully. Do this out in the open where if you drop that screw you can find it. It's going to go flying. And just slowly tighten that up. Push the knob down when you start to tighten that. Like I said, this is glass, so if something doesn't feel right, stop and back up and see what's going on. There you go, you're back on the road again. Oh, when it comes time to reinstall the bottom, make sure that the bottom goes in between this little beauty ring and the body of the roaster. And you'll have to do a little work. I find that if you tip the roaster on its top, you can line that back up a little easier. I find that if you just set the thing on there and start at one edge, and I do the front first, where the beauty ring is, and then slowly work your way around there. It's kind of like a shoebox lid, and it fits on there. And you can squeeze the body of the roaster a little bit to get it tucked back in there. Comes time to put the screws back in, just line them up and screw them in by hand. They should screw in pretty far. If they don't, you might have some of that rock wool caught in between the screw and the hole, and just pull it out, just start over again. They're pretty long, shouldn't be a big deal. And go ahead and tighten them back up with your trusty screwdriver. I kind of tighten them in a crisscross pattern to pull the thing up. Come on, get him. There we go. Don't get too rough with these. Tighten that one back up. Okay. Go ahead and flip the thing back onto its feet. Push down on this black liner, make sure it's seated real well. If you hear it pop, you might have to flip it back over and tighten the screws up. But you can feel under there. Yeah, that one's a little loose. So now that they're started, you can flip it up on its side. There we go. We're ready for another 100,000 miles or 5 turkeys. Whichever comes first. Okie dokie. Ready for a little test spin here. That plug got to fit pretty tight on the roaster. There we go. We're ready. One of America's icons. No big deal. Yeah, that could sit down. I think this edge could sit down a little bit more. But it's okay. Your tray back on and your liner back in and your lid. And you're ready to go. I find too that when it comes time to adjust this, I kind of push in a little bit. Just a tiny bit. That way it doesn't rub on there so much. Like I said, those knobs are glass and they're a little fragile. Break it, you bought it. Yeah, you break it, you're kind of in trouble a little bit. Unless you can find an old roaster that's in bad shape. So there you go. Your light bulb is replaced. It doesn't get any better than that. If you like this video, let me know. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. If you'd like to join my channel, it's right here. If you make something tasty, why don't you send me some? Have a great day. Take it easy.